We are back with Messy on Purpose, and I have Andrea here with me today. She'll tell us a little bit about herself, and then we're going to dive right into the conversation.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me, Felicia. I love the show. I love your energy. So I'm really glad to be here. Like she said, I'm Andrea. Really glad to be here. And my life is a little bit of a crazy journey, as some of us can relate, or maybe most of us can relate. At least everyone I associate with can relate. So I'm just here to sort of have the blueprint for people who are going through some messy things and maybe need some guidance, some advice, some wisdom. Well, I don't want to toot my horn too much, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully, I help somebody.
I mean, if it helps one person, I say it's worth it.
Yeah, true.
So let's talk a little bit about you and kind of what led you to what you're doing now, and then we'll kind of dive into what you're doing and how you're helping people. Does that sound good?
Sounds great. So, yeah, we'll start with today and then go back a little bit. So, today, mostly what I'm focused on is helping women who are on a healing journey from usually some type of traumatic events after they've decided they want to rebuild their lives. And what that looks like, usually, and which was my experience, is there is they're usually in isolation. They don't have a community. They don't have anyone who's been through what they've been through in their life to sort of help them and guide them. And so that's what I do today. Um, and the reason why I do it is now we can go back a few years. In 2017, I left an abusive relationship, and that was really like a major, major turning point in my life, one of a few. Um, and after that, I mean, I started, I don't want to say from nothing, because I was blessed enough to be financially stable enough to leave, and I had my own place and a career. But besides that, I had, no community. I was isolated. My relationship with my family was almost non-existent, which I'm still working on rebuilding that with my parents. Um, and so all that to say is I didn't have a mentor, I didn't have guidance. The friends that I had no idea what was going on in my life. It was like I was kind of living like a double life. And so from that, it was messy. And from that, I really realized I want to be that for people. I mean, like once I got on the other side of it and I was able to, that's what I'm doing now. But even then, when it was just starting, I remember sitting on my couch and thinking, because I love thinking ahead, and even now I'm like 5 years down the road in my head. But back then, I was sitting on my couch thinking, like, okay, how can I, when I move forward from this, what is it going to look like? And that's when the name of my business came to me, which was just an Instagram page back then, and all of that. And I was still very much in my healing journey. So nothing happened for a while with it. But now I feel like everything's coming full circle, and I'm really able to impact people.
On like the personal side of like what you went through, so you left an abusive relationship and you lost a lot of connections. Now these connections, because you said you had a double life,
Mhm.
was this because you didn't really have connections with these people, like real like deep connections, because you
Mm.
weren't sharing things?
That's a great question. And it's interesting because I think about that a lot, because some of those friends are still in my life now. And it's been like a thing where everyone knows what happened. And it's not really something that was really spoken about after everything shook out, because some of them really didn't know how to be there for me after, in the aftermath. And then when I kind of got back my life back on track, they're like, oh, like she's back, like the Andrea that we know. And some people, I really can't fault them, because I think they didn't have the tools to know how to help me. And some of them, I think it triggered some things that they hadn't dealt with in their past. And so they didn't know what to do or what to say or how to help. And I didn't ask for help. To take credit for my part, is I didn't tell people what was going on. I didn't lie about what was going on outright, but I guess it's a lie of omission. Like I would see people, and I thought maybe they would notice that I had a bruise covered up by makeup, or that I had marks on my arm, or that I wasn't my usual self, but no one ever said anything. So I just kept it up. I was like, no one asked me anything. I'm not going to say anything. And then when I did confide in someone, they had no idea what to do with it. And so it was kind of like, that was another thing of having people that can actually help you, and community is so important, and not letting go of that, because I didn't have it. And I just was like, I always think like, what would happen if I did have somebody that intervened earlier, or noticed, or had more of a say, or like got me out of my shell where I was comfortable telling people. Because I think there was a reason I didn't open up, right? I knew like
Yeah.
it wasn't going to do anything, or they would tell me something and maybe I wouldn't follow it, like both things. So it's an interesting question. I think it's a little bit of both. Maybe I wasn't open with them, and they also weren't willing to dig deeper.
Did you even want, I know when we're in like horrible situations and like sometimes it's just kind of like we're just going to deal with it because that's what we know and it's where we're comfortable, right? So we stay in
Mm-hmm.
relationships longer than we should, whether it's abusive or not. And
Right.
so maybe a part of you didn't want to tell anyone because you didn't want them to know, so that's why you were kind of hiding it too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it was a mix of a lot of things. And that's why, I mean, it's really hard to explain. And even when people are told, but they haven't been through it, they don't know anyone who's been through it. That's why it's so confusing to explain to people. And they're like, but wait, what? Like, why were you, like, why did you do that? Or why didn't you say anything? Or why did you stay? And it's like, that's why it's so confusing, because in my head, it was a mix of everything. Like, if I say something, what if they completely dismiss me, make me feel bad? Or what if they don't help me at all, which did happen? Or what if they do try and then I am not receptive to it, right? And then like the friendship, what happens to the friendship? So I think with different people, it was different things. So that's what makes it even more interesting now looking back, is like I think it was just a mix of all of it at once.
And you didn't have like not one person noticed any of this unless you told them.
So somebody at work, well, work is a whole nother issue because I was in a series of toxic workplaces along with the toxic relationship. So the workplace that I was at, one of the supervisors noticed, because we had polos, and then I would usually just wear my little windbreaker jacket over it, which also had like the logo and everything. But one day I had taken it off, and he saw like my arm, and it like clearly looked like finger marks. It was like nothing that you could explain away. So he pulled me aside, and I actually don't remember what he said to me, because that period of my life, I just think everything was so, it was just like a series of unfortunate events, and a lot of it I just don't remember, like little details like that. But he did pull me aside, and I do remember that. And he I think was basically telling me like, hey, this isn't cool. What happened? Are you okay? I'm guessing something along those lines. And I think I just like brushed it off. um
Well,
it's like
it's probably felt embarrassing, right? Like that's
yeah.
not something you want coworkers to see because we
Yeah.
don't want to show coworkers our
Oh
entire
yeah.
lives.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. At my workplace, I'm like, I'm not about to. This is not. I don't think this is the place to just divulge all my life story, especially because I just didn't. I didn't trust what was going on over there, that they would help me at all, which my instincts were right, and that's a whole nother story. But I didn't think that was the place. I mean, there are some workplaces where I could, like where I work now, if I were to open up to my boss, I think that would be a great resource, and people would be really supportive of me. Not that I would want to tell all 40 people that I work with, but at least two or three. But there, I was like, oh, there's no way I'm telling you guys what's going on, because like that's just lines I don't want to cross, and I don't trust you. I don't know what you're gonna do with the information.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh yeah, okay, and
No.
then just brushed it off. Yeah, I was like, all right.
It's so it's interesting when we have that such low self-esteem and then
Hmm.
that that settling for our environment and not knowing that we deserve better.
Mm-hmm.
We tend to put, not only are you going to stay in a relationship you shouldn't stay in, whether it's abusive or just negative in general, whatever it may be, you also aren't going to do that in other areas of your life.
Oh yeah.
So that's why you're in toxic workplaces
Mm-hmm.
too. And I've been there myself. Like when you think so low of yourself, you think that's all you
Mm-hmm.
deserve. And
Yeah.
so, do you feel now that you've gotten away from that relationship and kind of worked on yourself and kind of your other relationships and growing to be a more confident person?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously you're confident, or you wouldn't come on here and tell your story.
Yeah.
um, and so, as you did that, do you feel like that's why you're in a better work environment as well?
Yeah, I'm like, no pressure. Yeah, I am telling my life story to strangers. That's kind of my deal now. So, or at least part of it. Um, yeah, I mean, everything, the reason why I said it was such a major turning point is because after that, I was trying to find my way, and I knew that that situation is something that I couldn't move forward with. But then I realized that my bar was so low that I was like willing to settle for just a little bit better, and then just a little bit better, and just a little bit better, and everything was just not right for me. And then that's when I uncovered those patterns and realized why I kept making these decisions, why I kept settling for certain friendships, certain workplaces, like you said, certain relationships. I mean, the relationships I had after that weren't much better. I was like, well, at least he doesn't hit me, and that's it's not a good
That's a low bar.
bar, right? Like, or at least my boss isn't like cussing me out and yelling at me. Like, that's a low bar. Um, yeah, I remember. I mean, even at the workplace that I talked about, we would have trainings, and the trainer would be one of our coworkers and like a senior supervisor, and they would be like bullying my coworkers. And so like that's an environment where like, yeah, like pull me aside and tell, like, ask my life story. Like, I know like a month from now I'm gonna be the butt of you guys' jokes in the training. Like, no, thank you, this is not the place for me to divulge. And so all that to say is, yeah, once I realized like I need to look inward and ask, like, what about myself? Why do I keep getting myself in these situations? Like, what do I need to do to get out of this? And that was a lot of trial and error, but it did come down to my self-worth. I was like, well, what do I deserve? Like, I deserve better than this. And even my job prior to this, it paid the bills, and it wasn't bad, but I didn't really like it anymore. I mean, I didn't want to go to work. I woke up and I was like, here we go, another day. And I was very comfortable there. I mean, like, I knew my job very well, and I knew at the end of the day I was going to do it well, and there wasn't going to be any issues, but I just wasn't happy there, and I knew that wasn't my stopping point. And so I had certain standards. I was like, okay, this is the type of job I want. This is the type of salary I want. And people literally told me I was crazy. They're like, you're not going to get paid that much in this area. Like, the average salary in this area is already less than what you're making at the job you're at now. Like, you're asking for too much. People like literally told me that. And I was like, okay, great. Well, I'm going to stay here until I find what I want. And I applied for like over a year until I found something that I was like, okay, this is what I was asking for. And that's where I work now. So it was the same thing of like, just knowing what you want and knowing what's aligned and knowing what you deserve. And it's like, it's out there. I just have to look for it, and I have to silence the noises and the people telling me like that that's not for me, because how will I know unless I try? Like, I know, like, I'm not the first person to try to get a better job and then get it in like an area where people are telling me like, no, like the average salary is 60,000, like you're not going to make more than that. Like, no, I will. And I am. So, whatever.
The doubters are always there. They're always there, but
Mhm.
we just gotta ignore them.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I've had a lot of that too, where people are just like, "Why would you like? That's impossible." And like, nothing's
Mhm.
impossible.
No.
So,
Yeah.
so getting to that point to where, what did it take to get to the point where you were like, something has to change?
It was when I realized I was repeating the same cycles. Like I literally was meeting the same version of the same person in different bodies. And I was like, what is going on? And even with the workplaces, like I left that place that I mentioned where people were like outwardly like bullied and everyone, it was just part of the culture. And then I moved on to somewhere that looked good on the outside, but then the more the leadership got comfortable with me, their true colors came out, and I was like, wait a minute, like this is just as toxic as the last place, but it just looked different on the outside. Then you peel the layer back, and you're like, oh my god, it's the same thing. Like no. So it was just that point of like, okay, like you said, something's got to give because I keep getting myself in these situations where I end up feeling the same. Like I feel the same. This feels really similar. And like I said, I got to the point where I'm like, something has to change within me. Like I have to start really like thinking, being intentional about what I'm out there like saying and doing and how I'm carrying myself and what I allow and boundaries, all those lovely words, all those lovely things that I thought were just words and nice to have us back then. Then you realize like, oh no, like it's real. Like there's a reason why people tell you that. It's not just a nice to have, like it literally protects you from everything I had already like learned the hard way. And I just wanted to stop repeating it. So I'm like, okay, I gotta do some self-reflection.
There's things that are just non-negotiable, and boundaries as well.
Definitely.
I was just telling somebody, like, they invited me to something. I said no. They kept trying. I was like, I'm sorry, but I'm not somebody you can change your mind.
Yeah.
I said I don't want to go.
Yeah. I already told you no.
It's that simple.
Yep.
Okay, so you finally got to this point. What was your first step? Like, what did you change that, like, kind of just let it all? Because that's the hardest part for most people is the action behind it. Like, we can all say we want something different, we need to change, but the action that everyone forgets to put behind it and then wonders why everything stays the same. Where did you start?
I mean, it took a lot of, like I said, trial and error, and I did a lot of things that I thought were helping, and it was like, oh no, this is just a distraction, or oh no, like I'm doing this thinking it's like helping me, and it's really like nothing's changing. But I think what ended up happening is what I said, the whole thing of like boundaries and like really sitting down with myself and writing it down, like writing down like what I want in a partner, what, not just what I don't want. Because like people are really good at telling you like what they don't like. Like I don't like that politician. I don't like this policy. Like I don't like my neighbor. I don't like this. I don't like that. I don't like my coffee like that. Whatever. But like you ask people to write down like a list of like 20 things that they'd like, and be really specific and tell you why, and then they're like they're drawing blanks. They're like, I like the color pink. Like it's very like surface level. And then I realized I'm like, okay, I need to get really clear because like you can't hit a target unless you know where the target is. Like you could tell me like, hey, throw this dart. And I'm like, there's nothing, it's a wall. It's a really big wall and it's blank, right? Like
where does it need to go?
I can try, but like I have nothing, right? So it's like, then you narrow it down. And so I sat down and I was like, all right, if I want to go somewhere different than the past, like I need to reflect on like, how did I even get to all those places? Right. That's a whole nother thing. But then how do I move forward and not do that? And on top of that, like I said, like, what do I actually want? Not just avoiding someone abusive, but like finding a partner that's actually like emotionally intelligent and compassionate and listens, and like it going towards what I actually want instead of just like wandering aimlessly into life and hoping that I get what I deserve one day, which doesn't.
Did you feel
really,
like it was more of what you wanted or more of what you needed? Because when we think of a partner, it's got to be somebody that you kind of need, right? It's not just something you want, because something you want you'll get bored with.
And well, that's we could do a whole podcast on this, but that was my mentality before of like, I was in a very and this is a lot of it is like, you know, the way we're raised, but I was in a very like I'm everyone has like done me wrong, and so now I need to be independent and I don't really need anyone. I just want a partner, right? Like I can be fine on my own. And of course, like I was really lying to myself because I do believe with what I want out of life and what and yeah, just what I like deeply desired was to be in partnership with someone, but it was just a defense mechanism. I was just saying like, "Oh, I don't need anyone. Like I'm good on my own." To protect myself because I thought like I really thought in the back of my head like I might never get this. And so I need to tell people like it's fine if I never get it. Like I it's whatever. I'm good alone. And that was really my mentality once when I was like just trying to move on and trying to date, and then I learned the hard way again that I'm like, that's the wrong mentality to have. Like, what kind of person am I attracting if I'm like, I don't need you? And they're like, I don't need you. And like, wait, what's
Pretty much.
so then what are we? Okay, what are
We
we doing?
attract what we put out there.
Yeah. So that was my mentality, and that's what I was getting. Like I was getting the same thing of like they, you know, people can see how you carry yourself, how you treat yourself, and how you act, and they pick up on it, and they know like what they could say, what they can get away with, like what's going on, what the dynamic is, without you really having to say it out loud. They're just like, okay, yeah, she doesn't need anyone. Okay, I don't need her. Like whatever, I'll just have like three girlfriends, and she'll just she'll just be one of them because she said she doesn't need me, so she'll be all right without me half the week. Like that was what it was.
Now, when you did this whole kind of breaking down your goals and where you want to go and what you're trying to do with your life, what factors did you put into that? So you put in the relationship, you put in your career. What other factors did you add?
Oh, that's a good question. I think at that point I was just really, really focused on those two things because I felt like those were really lacking. And those are the things, I mean, we all need to be financially stable of some sort, right? But I also wanted to just be somewhere where I felt like it was a place for me and I didn't feel like I, you know, wanted to jump ship every day. But besides that, I mean, I was really just focused on those two things at first. Um, but as I moved forward, I realized I really needed to also continue or have a plan to have a good relationship with myself. And so I was looking for all these external things, but then like my health was really suffering, and like I wasn't taking care of myself, like down to like taking care of my hair, which anyone with curly hair knows, like it's a pain in the behind. Um, like I wasn't taking care of my hair right, and I would like brush out my hair, and it would be like falling out, and I wasn't eating right, and I was like gaining all this weight, and just got to a point where I'm like, okay, I was like really worried about like everything else outside of me, like too much now. I gotta like bring it in and start like taking care of myself a little bit more. So that I had that realization, which seems obvious, but I was just kind of losing myself in things that I didn't have that I really, really wanted, and all my energy was just going like out.
Did you kind of feel like you could not focus on yourself even though that's the area you needed to focus on? So focusing on the things that you wanted were a little easier than focusing on within and trying to figure out how to fix what is broken.
Hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, you have to live with yourself, right? Every day you wake up and it's you, you go to sleep and it's you. And so even with that, I mean, I think we just get complacent with ourselves and we get really comfortable. At least I was. And yeah, it was a little bit easier because part of me was like at that point thinking these are maybe things that are even not attainable for me, and I had to even change those beliefs. Because this is before I got this job that I currently have, before I met my fiance. Like I did believe like maybe I would never have these things. Like maybe it just wasn't for me. And so that also made me like want to keep chasing because I thought like I would just be chasing forever and then I could just like focus on that, like you said, instead of focusing on on myself as well.
It's hard. It's hard to dive into yourself because we have to
Hmm.
face the reality that we
Yeah.
can change
Hmm.
ourselves. It's not up to anyone around us.
Yeah.
Like the environment is one thing, but we can choose to change who
Yeah.
we are and
Yeah.
how we think. So when you started working on yourself, you got to that point, right? You get to the point where you're like, I gotta fix something. And what was your avenue? Like, where did you start? Because some people like don't know where to start, right? Like
Hmm.
they work with a therapist, or um, for me, example, I just got into fitness and health and worked
Hmm.
on being the healthiest I was, and then that dove into reading books, and then it blossomed from there. So everybody kind of does it a little differently.
Hmm. Well, at first, I mean, I was so isolated, so I thought like if I got around different people or like the right people, that that would help me. And I don't want to say that it didn't help, but that was my first step of trying to do something. So I did get a new like set of friends and started just like hanging out in different places, doing different things, thinking like that would like change everything. And of course, like I said, like everything at the beginning was external. But I mean it I had to start somewhere, and like that was like the easiest thing to do. Like after you're like looking around, like I'm isolated, like what do I do? Like let's look for some people. Like let's go different places. Let's like kind of see what happens. Still kind of like aimlessly, but thinking like, well, something might happen out of this. Like I'm by myself, so now like if I try to find the right people, like I'm going in some type of correct direction. And so that is what I first did. And then again, like I said, like everything ended up just leading back to myself because I was just, after a while, I was just distracting myself. So I was going to like events and like retreats and like weekend things and all this stuff and concerts and basketball games. And after a while, you're just like, okay, like I'm not really like, yeah, this is different. And I'm not like isolated anymore, but I'm also not really like working on myself.
I
Um,
actually have a question real quick.
yeah.
So you went and you tried all these different things and
Hmm.
events and stuff to keep yourself busy for the most part,
Yeah.
right? So you could focus on something else. But when you're meeting these people, so what happens is what we put out there is what comes to us, right? We attract
Hmm.
what we put out there. And so were you attracting still kind of the same group of people just in different environments?
Yeah. And it was like a recurring thing because I think like now this is like the third time I'm telling you, like it was the same thing all over again. Like I thought this was gonna like make my life different, but it really wasn't. And so it really was like a cycle, and that's what people like. Everyone talks like healing journey, and like I'm like the number one. If you go on my like Instagram, I'm like every other post is like this break this pattern like healing journey, but it really is, and it's not linear at all because like I would have the same realization like 30 times, and then like until it really like integrates and you start like thinking differently and then like acting differently, like you really don't get it. So like I would have the same thing happen over and over again and like try different things, and it just will bring me right back to myself. And so I would just be like, okay, guess it's still me, like I'm still the common denominator. um and I would still just end up like me in my journal. And I think journaling and having like somewhere where I could put my thoughts and all my crazy thoughts and all my crazy ideas into one place really helped, because then I not only like got everything out, and was able to process certain things, but also now, and not even now, but as time progressed, I would open my journals and I would write in like a bunch of different, I had like a million journals. Like there was one in the living room, one in the kitchen, and then one in the dining room. And I would just pick them up and be like, whoa, like I wrote this 3 months ago. And I didn't even realize, like, I keep thinking I'm going in a circle, but really like there has been a change. Like I have, like my beliefs have shifted, or I've like realized this little tiny thing. And so it was just like I said, a whole lot of trial and error and a whole lot of realizing like I have to come back to myself and learn like the same lesson over and over again. And it was like a million little lessons over and over until you like actually learn it, and then you're like, okay, cool, I think I'm good there, and like time to learn something else. Like you think you're good, and then the next week you're like, oh man, like there's more. That's how
What
it
was the
goes.
first big change? What was the exciting change, or maybe even the scariest?
Oh, let's see. That's hard. Sometimes thinking back, I mean, not that it's been that long, but I mean, like 20, I think 2018, 2019, 2020 were like the years where I was like really like trying to rebuild from scratch. And I think the biggest or maybe scariest thing is what you said of like realizing that really like everything's up to me. And once like that clicked, then I felt less like a hamster on the same wheel because like all the distractions and all the things that I tried, I'm like, okay, like I'm the common denominator, like really like it sounds so simple, but it's something that people really like don't understand. Like so many people are still like blaming everybody and everything and anything for how they act, right? For how they think, for how they choose to move in the world, for the people they allow in their lives, right? For so many things, and it's like we're the last place we look, and it's like whoa, like it's actually me. Like I need to ask myself like go back and be like, okay, what about yourself? What about your past? What about your experiences? Like, why do you think this way? Right? Like that led you to do this thing. And why do you keep doing this thing? Like it's something within you. So all of those until I had that realization, like nothing really changed within me and I didn't really change that belief like I said of like that my life could actually like I could actually have everything I want and everything I need until I realized like I was in charge of it. And it's like, oh, I can have it because it's not something that's like going to be given to me for no reason. It's something that I have to like become a certain person, right? And then it's like I have to get the right key, right? To unlock the door, right? No one's really going to open it. Like I have to create the key inside myself. Like I'm not going to find it anywhere out there, right? And then until that happens, like I'm not going to get that thing. Like I'm not going to be able to have like peace of mind or have the career, or have the partner, or have anything whether it's like tangible or not. Like until I realized like I'm actually in charge. So that was like the biggest realization.
It's amazing how many people don't realize how much is actually in their control,
Mm-hmm.
especially how we react to things.
Oh yeah.
So bad, we can't help some bad things happen, right? They happen to
Mm-hmm.
all of us. We've all, especially like women, have some of
Oh
the
yeah.
like. I mean, every female has been abused in some way, shape, or form,
Mm-hmm.
and that we all have those experiences. We all react differently. And that goes for all people, right? Not just women. I mean, men
Yeah.
have situations they can't control either.
Mm-hmm.
But we can control how we react to anything.
Yeah.
And it's not easy, and sometimes our emotions get in the way. But if we take responsibility for how we reacted, we can
Mm-hmm.
actually grow from that as well. And what drives me nuts is the people that are just like, oh, everything happens to me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Things like that. And it's like you're not sitting back and you're not taking responsibility for how you react and what you're doing to change that so it stops happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's cool to see that that's what it took for you to make that
Yeah.
change, and journaling really helped you. And that's
Mm-hmm.
really cool because I mean journaling's really great for a lot of people.
Yeah. Definitely.
um so you got to the point where you started making changes. What did you really like physically do to make those changes? You were journaling, you figured this all out. Did you like start working out and getting healthy? Did you go to therapy? Was there anything specific that you did to kind of jumpstart the change?
Mm-hmm. Um, well, like I said, I think I like literally tried everything. Tried everything and anything. So I was like, you know what? Like journaling helped. Like I'm gonna see what else can help. And really it was like at that point changing my mind from going towards distractions and now like finding tools to help me, right?
Hmm.
So it wasn't in like I'm gonna go like drink so I could forget my problems, which that's like one of the things I did without even realizing it.
Most
Um,
people do.
yeah, in my like early to mid 20s, I'm like, hold on a second. What? I
That
just
was
noticed
me.
something.
Same
Yeah.
thing.
And you think
And
it's
now I
just like
don't drink at
normal.
all. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
I
and
know.
especially if you grew where are you from?
So I was born overseas in Romania, but I've lived in California since I was like 8 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm from the Midwest
Yeah.
originally,
Hmm.
and it's very so the environment you're around there, drinking is like the only thing to do because there's literally
Yeah.
nothing. There really
Yeah.
is nothing. And so it's so normalized that everyone starts very, very young, and that's
Hmm.
literally what everyone
Oh
does.
yeah.
That's all. So when you
Yeah.
quit drinking there, I got a lot of really bad feedback when I quit drinking there because of
Yeah.
that. And because of the normalization of just drinking away your problems, that's
Hmm.
part of the problem with our
Oh
society.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's so normalized, and it's like I feel like it's everywhere. It's like small towns. Like, what do you always have? Like, you always have a bar and a liquor store, right?
Yep.
Everywhere. Like, you can count on that. And then in bigger cities or like areas where like I'm like an hour away from LA, but even where I live here, it's like there's every food place like serves alcohol, right? Every corner of everywhere you could buy alcohol, and it's like so normal. You go to sporting events, there's alcohol. You go to,
It's
I think like,
everywhere.
yeah, I think like churches are probably the only place, the only place where you like you can go
And
and
here
like
in
not.
Vegas, they might have it at the church. Oh wait, they do. They do. They wine. They have wine.
Oh,
So
that's
they
right.
technically.
Well, that's true. But then I thought about it, and I'm like, some churches don't have the wine anymore. They have like grape juice or some type of that's supposed to resemble
Oh,
wine. So even, but anyway, um, yeah, like once I broke that pattern of like not distractions, then I was like able to move on to tools. And like once I saw journaling worked, I'm like, what else could work? But yeah, I found like movement. At first, it was just movement because I didn't really go on a fitness journey until I was more stable and had like found my partner that I'm with now and had like more mental capacity to really like take my health more seriously. And that was
so
only
were you
like maybe,
walking?
yeah.
Just
Also, I was walking
walking?
my dog.
Yeah. No, that's
So go,
perfect. That's where I
yeah.
tell everyone to start. Just
Ah,
start with a walk.
yeah.
Clear your
Yeah.
head.
Yes. And that's what I found is like walking was really like I was able to put my phone away. Like I had it with me because I was like living by myself and I was, you never know like when you're walking around. I was like, I can't leave my phone at
Yeah.
home, but I would leave it in my, put it in my pocket and I would just walk around in my neighborhood. At the time was like super cute. Like the neighborhood behind my apartments, it was like very like trees everywhere and there was like a house that had like a secret garden that like if you knew like they would let you walk around their property, so we would just like go on long walks and sometimes like I would take my book and read, and like reading is something I came back to. So when I was younger, like that would be my escape. Like I would just read and that would be the only thing that would stop my anxiety and my like thoughts from running like on autopilot forever. um so I would take my book with me sometimes and I would sit on like a little bench at that garden. And so like eventually I kind of got into that flow of like, okay, these things are helping my mental health. Like I can go outside and it's like helping my anxiety. It's helping me, get fresh air, get vitamin D. I'm like, is it D? Yeah. From
Yeah.
the sun. Like the sun always helps. I'm like, thank goodness I'm in California. Even today I'm like, it's sunny and it's warm. I'm like the seasonal depression. I'm like kicking it, like trying to so hard to keep it out. But today was a little bit easier because I'm like, oh, it's sunny, it's a little warm, I'm feeling good. Um, I'm like, oh, thank goodness. But yeah, I don't know how you do it in the Midwest because
Oh, I'm not in the
I,
Midwest anymore though. I'm in
oh,
Vegas.
you're in Vegas. You
So
said you're in
I see
Vegas.
sun more than you do.
Yes, it's a little bit. But I went like 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago in the winter, and it snowed, and I was like, oh, what's going
Oh
on
yeah,
here?
but it doesn't last. So yeah,
Yeah,
it was about 2 years ago. It snowed like super like it was like super heavy for
yeah.
like I don't know, not very long, and then an hour later it was gone.
Yeah, and I was like, it was me and my friend. I was like, we got so lucky we got snow. I'm like, we don't even get this at home. Like here, I have to drive to the mountains. I have to go like an hour away. Like the beach is an hour away, the mountains are an hour away. I'm like, you can get whatever you want down here. Um,
I've been
but
here for
yeah,
like 4.5 years. That was the only time it's ever snowed.
crazy. Yeah, so I'm like, we
Yeah,
just got really lucky. I'm like, doesn't it
yeah,
snow there? But I guess like once in 10 years. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, so like I just found my flow and like kind of kept what worked and got rid of what didn't. But like it all, I think what it all came down to is like moments of mindfulness and being like walking like you're I was looking around, I was like observing things, I was just enjoying the environment, and instead of like actively doing something that would take my mental capacity, and then at the same time like my thoughts would still be running at the same time. And that was when I was like really struggling with anxiety still, and like trying to figure out like how to get rid of it without medication. Because like, you know, some people are like, no, I need the medication, and I was like, you know what, I need to see if I can figure out something. um and eventually I did, but I mean like I was real close to being like, I need something, because this anxiety is like, I'm not kicking it, like it's not working. But yeah, moments of mindfulness like that, whether it's like reading where your brain can do something else, or walking or journaling, and doing things with intention behind it. I think like anything like that like really really helped me um process things and move forward and have things to look forward to every day, which is like really hard when you're trying to like move on with your life and rebuild your life, because there's some days where you're just like, I don't want to get out of bed, I don't want to really even like, should I just go sleep for like a few months, like that would be great. Just put me in a little coma. And I was like, I felt like that
That's
a
what the
lot.
drugs do.
Yeah, I'm like, see, like that's why I was like, I was really close. Um, but just like fighting through that, and finding moments where I could, like I said, look forward to getting a break from craziness of life, things that we can't control, because there's a lot of those, and then just focusing on what I could.
Did it feel good to do all of that without drugs? Because the reason I ask is because I feel like drugs are just like a band-aid, right? You don't really learn
Mm-hmm.
anything. It's the same as like taking
Yeah.
Ozempic to lose weight. You didn't learn the
Yeah.
habits to keep the weight off if you ever get off of
Mm-hmm.
Ozempic.
Yep.
It's kind of that same thing. So does it
Yeah.
feel good to be able to do that without actually having to use any substances?
Yeah, and I think even with anything, like there's a difference between something being a tool and something being a crutch. And I think like there are like very real like mental health disorders where
A
people
hundred percent.
need the medications. But it was like, for
Yeah.
me, I knew myself well enough to know like I've been functioning with anxiety, like I've had it real bad since high school. And now I was like in my mid 20s, and I'm like, I've gotten through this far. Like something's got to work without like even trying to make it better, right? So I'm like, if I try, I feel like there something's got to give, right? Like there has to be, like, if I put, like, again, if I put intention, like some strides could be made, and if it didn't work out, then maybe I would have like tried something else or drugs. But yeah, I think for me it was like really the same thing you said. Like I wanted to figure out something, like even with like diet and exercise, like it has to be a lifestyle change, because I mean, even for me, like 2 years ago is when I did go on my fitness journey, and like I had prediabetes. And like that really woke me up to like, okay, like now the test results are telling me like there's something wrong. As opposed to like looking in the mirror and being like, maybe I shouldn't, maybe I don't feel good in my body. But like that you could just ignore, right? You could just buy bigger clothes and everything's fine. But like when the doctor's telling you like you gotta try something, so that was like a wake up call for me. So I like went on a weight loss journey, lost like 60 pounds, and then now I'm this past, well, now almost it'll be a year, the beginning of next year. Now I've been like trying to maintain, and like now this is the hardest part. Like now I'm looking back, like this, the maintenance is what the hardest part. Like you found what works, but like, are you going to be able to keep this up for the rest of your life? Because I've, you know, God willing, got a lot of years left, and I don't want to, go back to how I was before. And so now I've been like battling with trying to like keep the majority of it off, because I worked so hard, and it's like, what's gonna actually um work for me long term. It's funny that you brought up Ozempic, because the other day I was like looking in the mirror, and I'm like, I might cave eventually, because I'm like, my metabolism is gonna slow down. At least that's what they say after you hit your 40, which I'm not. I don't want to say I'm not close to 40, but I'll be there in some years. Um, so I'm like thinking like long term, because that's me. Like I'm always just thinking like 5, 10 years ahead, And I'm like, am I gonna have to like do something else? Like, what am I gonna have to do to like maintain this? Because I like gained 10 pounds and I felt horrible. I was like, my body's like telling me like, I don't even know how it was like 60 pounds heavier. And because now I'm like, I don't feel good. So I'm like, okay, like, what am I gonna have to do? So it's like, same thing. Like, what are you gonna have to do to like actually maintain it? Because it's easy to put a patch over it and be like, just don't look over there. But that, that doesn't work like 10 years down the line.
It's a lifestyle thing.
Yeah.
And the thing you need to do now while you're young is put on muscle. That's what you need to do. Put
Hmm.
on muscle.
Yeah.
I'm 36 and I stay regularly lean pretty easy.
I need to get back to
But
that.
I also don't eat like crap most of the
Yeah.
time. It's
Yeah.
just an occasional little treat. Like we'll get ice
Hmm.
cream maybe once or twice a month. I eat
Yeah.
pizza like a couple times a year. Like
Yeah.
I don't eat super bad.
Yeah. You have more discipline than I do with the food because I was like, I'm very much like, I love food. So I'm like, right now, I'm like back to tracking like what I eat because I know myself. And if I saw what happened when I stopped tracking. So I was like, okay, we got to get back on board. But also like if I want something, like I know how I am. Like if I don't have it, I'll be thinking about it for like 5 days. And then I'll just go crazy and I'll just eat like everything I can. So I'm like, okay, I I need to find some type of like balance, like where I can eat the things I want, but not like I am not gonna eat like a burger, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But if I have one once a week, like it's not gonna kill my diet. Like I can cook it at home, right? Instead of getting McDonald's, I can like make the things that I'm craving. That's usually my go-to is like if I cook, I can usually like stay on track. So that's what I've been doing. But it takes like a certain level of self-awareness. Like I know I love food and I can't just have pizza twice a year. Um, well, I could. I would just be really like maybe I would need like some antidepressant or something at that point because then I wouldn't be happy. But yeah, it's all about balance and just like knowing yourself enough to know like what can I sustain, and what's gonna work and what's like driving results, and then and what isn't.
The other thing too is to keep in mind if you're tracking your food, and which you should continue to do if you
Hmm.
have issues with
Yeah.
overeating, um, and doing just what you want. If you want something, just eat it in a smaller. You don't need to eat
Hmm.
it if you want it.
Yeah.
Okay, you want pizza, eat a slice, not a
Yeah.
half a
Not
pie. You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Hmm.
Like, or I want a sweet treat. Well, you don't
Yeah.
need the giant ice cream. You can
Yeah.
get the one scoop,
Yes.
and it's more than
Hmm.
enough. And just having those kind of boundaries really helps
Yeah.
you stay on track.
Yeah. I've been doing that, and that's how I've been able to keep most of it off. Is like being like swaps and then like making stuff at home and then just having a little bit and like Halo Top ice cream. I'm not sponsored by them, but like if they want to sponsor me, has been a lifesaver because I'm like you can eat the whole thing and it's like 500 calories, but I usually just eat like a sixth of the little thing and it's like that sweets craving just goes away and I'm like I'm good. But
Have you
yeah,
seen the
just
Yazoo bars?
you know what? I've seen them, but I haven't tried them,
They're
and I've
actually
wanted to.
really good. I think Halo Top sucks.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang. I like it. Well, I like the black cherry one with the chocolate in it. That one's good, but they're not all good. You're right.
They just don't taste like anything.
Yeah, they don't taste like ice cream either. So if you're craving like actual ice cream, like swaps don't work for everyone. I would just say like buy those little mini Haagen Dazs and those work. But yeah.
The other thing is the Ninja Creamy. I bought one of those.
Oh yeah. I was thinking that and then I'm like, dang, I'm gonna have another gadget that I need to find space for. But my best friend has one and she made I don't even know what was in it. It was like some peanut butter protein powder or something in it. It's supposed to be healthy. And I was like, this is actually really good. I'm like, what's in this?
I use the chocolate Fairlife, which
Oh
has about the
yeah.
same macros as like a protein drink, and then you
Yes.
add a scoop of protein because a lot of people add like the gelatin, or the like pudding gelatin thing
Yeah.
to it, but that's super bad for you. It's super bad for your gut. So
Yeah.
I just do a scoop of protein, I mix it in there, and you have to run it twice and just add a little bit of extra milk when you do it, and it creams it up,
Yeah.
and it's great.
Oh, that sounds good. Okay, I might maybe I'll put that on my Christmas list because now I'm like, I need that.
Yeah.
That'll be
And
that'll be
the
life
small
changing.
one The small one isn't even like that big. So if you just get like the
Okay.
regular one.
Perfect. Yeah, I might need to do that.
It's a game changer. When I
Yeah.
pull it out, my husband makes me make it like daily.
I know. I'm like, I gotta have, I'm the type of person I gotta have like a little sweet treat every day. So I have like a little tiny piece of chocolate or like a little bit of Halo Top or something where it's like my brain won't be thinking about sugar. And I'm like, I'm good. Then I won't
Just
wake
enough
up
to
and
get
like go get a donut and like a super sugary coffee because I didn't have dessert the next day. That's how I am. I'm like, I need a little bit of what I want because if not, we're gonna go to a whole extreme that we don't need to go there.
I do the same thing with coffee. I use the same Fairlife milk.
Yeah,
It tastes like
I need to go
mocha.
get that.
And you can
I
add
use just
protein to it and then
oh
add it to the
yeah.
coffee too.
I think I'm gonna have to make some changes in my coffee and my dessert routines now.
I got all the tricks. You just let me
Yeah,
know what you need.
I'm gonna have to stay in touch.
I coach people, so like I've shared pretty much every ounce of knowledge that I've ever had. So if there's something that you're wanting, I probably have a solution.
Perfect. You're like, this is what I do. I'm your
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah.
Love
So
it.
just let me know.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to hit you up.
So I know we're getting to kind of the end. We've actually talked about this a lot longer than I expected. I planned on diving into your business a little bit more, but let's dive into your business. Like what got
Yeah.
you to what you do. Well, first tell us what you do
Yeah.
exactly and kind of what got like what led to doing this.
Yeah, so right now I am coaching women and I know everyone says like niche down, have a niche, and I've just found it super difficult. And I'll tell you why. I ended up starting to coach. I started my business officially in July, but like I said, this started like years ago, like the idea and the concept of like knowing that I'm gonna make something out of this. So I started coaching, started my business in July, started coaching officially, I would say like October-ish, and I've had clients consistently since then. And what I've found is like all of our stories and our journeys are so unique, and we all are going to get to the same similar conclusions, but the way we get there is so different. And so I say like I coach women through like breaking cycles, breaking their survival mode patterns, which I realized like I was basically raised in survival mode. And so that's what led me to be how I am in my adulthood. So I had to unlearn all those things and kind of reparent myself and figure it out the hard way. And so now what I do for women is like I'm the person that I wish that I had back then. Like, let me guide you so that you don't do all the distractions and don't have to learn everything the hard way. Because some things, like, we do have to learn the hard way. But if someone's already been through it, like, why like you coach people, right? It's like, yeah, they can learn things the hard way like 10 years later when they've tried all the fad diets and all the whatever, or like they can just get with you and you can tell them like, no, that doesn't work, or like for you that's not going to work, right? And so like that's what I do. I coach women with whatever they're going through to get through that and get to the other side, as well as like I said, it's not just mindset, because I like people say like, oh, I'm a mindset coach, or like I'm a self-worth coach, which I was calling myself like the self-worth coach. I do relationship coaching, and I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm not even gonna try to niche myself anymore because I'm like, I literally like whatever women need to get through and get to the other side and get to whatever goal they realize that is for them. Like, I am your girl. Like, I've probably been there, and if not, we can figure it out together. But most of the time, whatever you're trying to get through, like the root of it, like there's a pattern under that. And like I've undone like the millions of, of patterns that were taught to me. So at the end of the day, it's all about that, like getting alignment in your life, getting rid of whatever patterns and cycles and things that are not working, things that you inherited from your parents or your environment, clearing through all of that, figuring out like, what do you need? What do you want? Like, this is your life. You're in charge. Like, take the driver's seat. I'm putting you in it and I'm just guiding you. And we're gonna do this together and we're gonna get you to wherever you need to go. Um, and that's what I do. I know that was like long-winded, and I promise I have a shorter version of this, but when I've said it before, like not authentically, and I've rehearsed it, like it just comes out like
Dry.
not right. So I'm like, let me
Yeah.
just give you the real, like what I really do. So that's what I really do.
So I would call that life coaching.
Yeah.
If you're, because it's everything, right? It's not
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
yeah, you can't niche that. But I will tell you, so it will eventually be a niche. You are just getting started. And the reason I
Mm-hmm.
say that is I have been doing the coaching thing for a very, very long time. And I did not niche at first either. I was just working with whoever needed help, right? And I've
Mm-hmm.
gotten to the point where I know that I work the best with people similar to me in the aspect
Mm-hmm.
of being busy and fitting health into your life, because I'm the type of person that I am going from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed. There's no in between, there's no relaxation. And so I know what it's like to have a crazy schedule, and I still manage to go to the gym every day, walk my dog every day, eat
Mm-hmm.
right, and all of these things. So for me, working with busy individuals, specifically like entrepreneurial type people
Mm-hmm.
who have everything kind of going but their health. And
Yeah.
so it took me a long time to get to that point. And so you will get there. You're
Mm-hmm.
just getting started.
Yeah. 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 I'm like, right now, I'm like, people told me that too. Like, you'll eventually like gravitate towards like a certain thing or a
Yeah.
certain type of person. Right now, I'm like, I don't know, maybe I've just gotten lucky, but I've like loved all my clients that I've had. And I'm like, this is great. We're just gonna keep on rolling with what we got.
Well, and you have to work with different people to even understand how
Mm-hmm.
different people work. And
Oh,
as you
yeah.
do that, you'll kind of realize who you can really benefit and
Yeah.
who maybe you just like. I don't necessarily work well with somebody who's like, I'm overweight, I want to lose weight, but I'm super lazy. Like, I don't work with that
Mm-hmm.
because I can't I can give you the tools, but I can't force you to do it. And that
Right.
frustrates me, which will make my
Yeah.
coaching, less valuable because I'm just
Mm-hmm.
going to be frustrated that you're not doing the work. It's just like, why
Yeah.
aren't you doing the work? And so I'm not going to be able to relate to that person like somebody
Mm-hmm.
else might be able to.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. And I love it. And I love that you've found your lane, but like you said, like I am just getting started and maybe like you know how relationships they say there's a honeymoon phase. Maybe I'm in my honeymoon phase of coaching. And you know what? I'm fine with it. Like let it keep rolling on. Like it's great. And I'm gonna let it be. I'm gonna let it be great until I find my lane.
And it doesn't have to get bad before you find
Yeah.
it. You just might eventually find it, and it's just like, oh, this works good. And then that
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that you're like, okay, I'm wiping out all these clients.
Yeah.
That's not what that means.
Yeah.
It just means that you're going to start working on building a certain type of clientele.
Yeah. No, that totally makes sense. I love that.
I've even seen it in, so I work for a money management and accounting firm.
Mhm.
And I've seen it with them too as they're building and they're picking and choosing their clients. They
Mhm.
have a criteria of the type of person they want to work with. And I'm not just saying based on their funds and things like personality, responsiveness, things like
Mm.
that. And those all play a good part because if you have a lot of crappy clients, you're going to have a
Mm.
lot more stress, right?
Oh
We want to
yeah.
work with the people we want to work with, and
Yeah.
it takes time to get there. You have to deal with the BS before you can get
Yeah.
to the good stuff because you have to learn. You have to learn.
Yeah.
If you just get handed all of that, and it's all exciting in the beginning,
Yeah.
so we're
Yeah.
happy, we're ready,
Yeah.
so you don't get burned right away sometimes.
Mhm. Yeah. No, that absolutely makes sense. I'm in for the journey. I'm ready.
I love it. We'll have to circle back in like a year and see where you're at with everything.
That will be crazy because I know I'm gonna be things are gonna shift. I know.
Yeah. And you're going to expand as a business, as a
Yeah.
person, so that's going to make a difference too because you change, right?
For
We all
sure.
change, we adapt, we use different
Yeah.
tools, we find new things.
Yeah.
I mean, just in that journey alone of self growth,
Mhm.
you start with certain books and stuff, usually like
Mhm.
the most popular stuff, and then you start to gravitate towards a certain thing. So like
Yeah.
when it came to reading books and stuff for self growth,
Mhm.
me and my husband were like on the same uh, ugh, me and my husband are on the same like books, and then
Yeah.
he gravitated more towards business books and I
Mm-hmm.
gravitated more towards psychology. So
Yeah.
like it's you can start in that same area, but we all kind of take our own path.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I love that book analogy because like everyone ends up like liking one genre way more than anything else. And it's a good analogy because I'm like, that's how niching is. Like you have to find it. It doesn't, you don't just pick it and then go. You kind of have to discover by reading all the genres. Yeah.
Yeah, you find out from trying things. I
Yeah.
mean, that never be scared to try something new. Gosh, I love
Yeah.
trying something new, even if I hate it.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. I need to be more adventurous in that way with my like general life.
You just got to challenge yourself. Like every year, I try to find something new to
New.
challenge
Yeah.
myself with.
Yeah.
So this year, well, technically, I started in December of last year, but this podcast has been a challenge for me this year.
Yeah.
So that's
Well,
why.
you're doing great. So I mean, like, challenge. It's a good challenge because you're killing it.
I knew it was meant to be.
Yeah. So you got through the hardest part. Now you're just you're pushing through and you're doing great.
Yeah, I love it. I get to talk to wonderful people like you and hear so many stories and having such great conversation, and it's a win all around. All the work is worth it.
Yeah, it's great. I love the fact that it's not like scripted. You don't have questions ready, and it made me just want to let all the things that I had rehearsed like out the window because I've had podcast interviews before where I'm like, okay, let me rehearse my call to action and my niche and now I'm just like, no, I'm just gonna just let it all fly out the window.
And the whole idea is we're more relaxed, right?
Yeah.
I don't have any pressure on me. You don't have any pressure on you. And we can have a real conversation. I think when
Yeah.
people get into those podcasts where it's like, oh, well, this question, and then this
Mm-hmm.
question, and then this question, like, I'd rather just ask as we go because that's just,
Yeah.
it's natural and it's going to come up. And
Yeah. I love it. It works.
so to kind of, well, before, I'm trying to decide. Okay, so do you want, let's do the last words. So do you want to kind of give a last kind of little message to anyone listening?
Yes, I think one message and one thing that came out of this conversation that I thought about is that I think I really like the analogy of being in the driver's seat of your life. And that's what I try to impart on my clients and really anyone I come across is like, you're in charge and we're only here on earth for a limited time. We really don't know how long that is. And so really take charge of your life and decide like what you need, what you want, and go after it. And don't let anyone tell you that what you want isn't possible. Or if you feel like it's for you, then it's for you and go for it.
Love that. Now, if somebody wants some life coaching, where do they find you?
So I am on Instagram at Heal Thrive Prosper. And then also you can visit my website, healthriveprosper.com. Those are the two best ways to get in touch with me.
Awesome. And I will also include all of that in the description as well, so everyone will be able to
Perfect.
find you. All right. Well,
Awesome.
thank you again so much for coming on, telling your story. I don't know how much of your story you planned on getting into, but I feel like I dug very deep.
It was great.
Good. And then until next time, guys, bye.
Thank you.